Haere maira o tātou mate, ka rangaranga o te motu e. Mauria maira ngā pare kawakawa o te poe. Ko te mātauranga, te matapihi o te rangi, whakaeke maira ngā kākuhu o ngā whānau e. Whakaeke maira koutou ngā paritu mātauranga, whakai o te rangi kōrero e. Haere maira, ko te kūninga ki purehura tēnei e whakatau atu nei au e. Haere maira.
Thank you for the welcome. I declare this congregation to be in session. Please remain standing and join with us in singing the traditional graduation song Gaudeamus, the words of which are printed on the screen. Please be seated. Ina waka, ina manga whakahi, ina taiwha, tēnā koutou katoa. Ki rana, talofa lava, malo elemali, whakalofa lahi atu, talohani, whakatalofo atu, nisa bula, nihao, ngā Massey, mahaba. A very warm welcome to you all to this graduation ceremony, one of 6 here in Palmerston North this week. The Massey graduation season takes place in April and May in Auckland, Manawatu and Wellington, and we have our final ceremonies here for the year in November, back in Manawatu. May I start by acknowledging fellow members of the Massey University Council and the academic staff on the stage with me today. In addition, I acknowledge distinguished guests we have amongst us, professional services staff, and in particular the members of the campus graduation committee and events team staff who have done a great job in organising today's ceremony. My name is Chris Kelly and I'm a very proud Massey graduate. At this ceremony we have 222 graduating, 51 of you with a master's degree and 8 with a doctoral degree, the highest qualification our university offers. Amongst those staff members today are Latia Mayo Siwabu from the School of People, Environment and Planning, Teresa Wasrig-Zaim from the Redette Institute, and Ashley Jane Thompson from the School of Sport and Exercise. We have a total of 1,084 graduating this week, and by the end of the year, Massey will have produced an additional 6,000 graduates to bring our total active alumni family around the world to around 140,000. Graduation Day is a day of celebration, an opportunity for the university, for you, your whānau, your friends and loved ones, to recognise the hard work you have done and what you have achieved as a result of that hard work. And modern technology increasingly makes it easier for us to connect with one another. It means you can share your big day with an audience far wider than those who are here in this theatre. All our ceremonies are streamed live on the internet, and there is a link on the Massey University homepage, which I'm sure many of you will have already discovered. Please feel free to put the link on your Facebook page or text, tweet or email to anyone who is unable to be here today. It'll be a permanent record of what I'm sure for many of you will be amongst your proudest moments. And while talking of recognition, it's important that you graduands remember to thank all those people who have backed you and contributed to your success during your studies, your family, your friends, and importantly, the faculty and the support staff of the university. To ensure you don't forget, I'd like graduands to acknowledge them. I'd like graduands to stand, applaud those on stage, turn around 180 degrees and applaud your family and friends. Please stand and applaud. Thank you, graduands. And for everyone in the audience, just so you can take part in the proceedings, please feel free to loudly applaud and congratulate each of the graduands as they cross the stage. After all, this is their day. The ceremony we're about to go through is traditional. It has its roots in graduation ceremonies developed some 800 years ago. The traditions, such as the robes we wear, the caps, called mortarboards, the mace, the singing of Gaude Amus, and the occasional awarding of honorary degrees to outstanding citizens, link us to the strong heritage of universities. Universities are institutions of higher learning in which the teaching and learning environment is provided by academics actively involved in the creation of new knowledge through research and scholarship. You will graduate today as a beneficiary of a university education. And as university graduates, you will be critical to the future social, economic and cultural development of your communities. As a graduate of Massey University, you will inherit the reputation of this highly regarded institution. The reputation of a university is built on the achievements of its faculty, past and present, and also its graduates. And the evidence of the achievements of our faculty and alumni is all around us. And to mention a few, we have designer and creative director Sir Richard Taylor from Weta Workshop, fashion designer Kate Sylvester, teacher and 2011 Rugby World Cup winning coach Sir Graham Henry, Ross McEwen, who in 1980 completed a BBS and is now global head of the Royal Bank of Scotland, and numerous business leaders such as Paul Brock from Kiwibank, Mike Bennett from Z Energy, and Ross Buckley from KPMG. Additionally, our scientists are among the best, not only in New Zealand but worldwide. And in the past 12 years, 7 of the winners of the Rutherford Medal, which is the Royal Society's most prestigious science award, have been Massey scholars. 5 are current staff and 2 are alumni. This university is a major New Zealand business with revenues of more than $450 million annually and is a very significant employer in the 3 regions in which it has a presence. University management is led by the Vice-Chancellor, equivalent to the Chief Executive Officer, while governance is the responsibility of the University Council. And recently we reduced the size of Council from 18 to a maximum of 12. Importantly, however, we retained members elected by staff and by students to ensure we retain diversity on Council. We pride ourselves on producing people who put New Zealand on the global map for its innovation, creativity, research and teaching. We celebrate all our can-do graduates who go out and make a difference. And it's this track record that rightly allows us to claim to be the engine that will drive the new New Zealand. It's important on these occasions to celebrate some of Massey's successes. We have a firm eye on the future. Last year we experienced growth in enrolments, including international enrolments, bucking a trend that's seen a number of other universities struggle to meet their targets. In part, of course, this is demographics. Outside of Auckland, the number of school leavers is forecast to stabilise, or in some cases decline. This year we have an opportunity for further growth, but competition is intense. However, one of the advantages Massey has in its globalisation agenda is that we're a diverse university with a broad range of disciplines. There are many ways in which our strengths complement one another. For example, design, arts and humanities have obvious links, as does science, agriculture and food production. And they in turn link to teaching and research in nutrition and health, both human and animal. And of course, business innovation is relevant across all these fields. Further, our diversity in campuses and modes of learning gives students options that other providers simply cannot offer. It means we can offer students lifestyle choices, the ability to study part-time while working, and, in many programs, the ability to study from anywhere in the world. Our ongoing investment in infrastructure is significant and includes seismic strengthening of all buildings that required it in Wellington and Manawatu, the opening of student accommodation for the first time at Auckland, and the stunning upgrade of the historic Sir Geoffrey Perrin building in Manawatu. And these are only highlights. Many buildings have been refitted and repurposed, and there's more to come. For example, you may be aware we've recently announced a sale to a New Zealand property development group of our campus at Hokowhitu. The proceeds of that will be invested in the main Manawatu campus site at Turitea, where most of today's graduates have studied. A few of the many highlights for the College of Health, which of course we're celebrating today, over the past year include such things as Distinguished Professor Paul Moen being appointed as a member of the International Academy Partnership Global Food and Nutritional Security think tank. The think tank aims to reduce the number of chronically malnourished children and address the challenges posed by the planet's rapidly growing human population. Professor Annette Huntington became the first New Zealand member of the Council of Deans of Nursing and Midwifery for Australia and New Zealand to be elected as Deputy Chair. Professor Richard Archer led a new $16.6 million food engineering research project, which brings together engineers and scientists from universities and Crown Research Institutes to improve profits for the New Zealand food producers. And Distinguished Professor Harjinder Singh was awarded the 2015 International Dairy Foods Association Research Award in Dairy Foods Processing, the first recipient from outside of North America to receive such an honour. He was also awarded the Fellowship of the United States Institute of Food Technologists for outstanding contributions to food science and technology. It's important that people recognise the ongoing value of learning and tertiary qualifications in the world, where the nature of employment and types of jobs people do is changing rapidly. That means those who succeed will be those who have learned how to learn, how to adopt, and how to adapt. Congratulations to all of you who have taken up the challenge to be where you are today. You will graduate proud of your achievement, but also honoured by the reputational mantle that you have inherited. I challenge you to go forth as Massey alumni, to make your own contribution, to grow your own reputation, and in doing so add further to the proud heritage that you are now part of. And as part of your journey, we anticipate many of you will come back to us as you face the never-ending quest to keep your skills and knowledge up to date. And you can be assured that Massey will be there to meet that need, whether it be through a course of full-time study or part-time through our world-class distance learning program. Finally, I would urge you to stay connected with your alma mater and your university family through our active alumni association. Again, congratulations, continue to work hard. Remember, your journey is just beginning, and never forget to enjoy yourselves and those around you. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. By the authority of the Council of Massey University, I, Christopher Kelly, Chancellor, will now award the certificates and diplomas and confer the degrees on those to be presented and on those in absentia.
Chancellor, the Director of Research and a Professor from the School of Nursing will present to you graduates and recipients of certificates and diplomas in the College of Health.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Diploma in Rehabilitation the candidate I am about to name, Karine Sarah Thompson. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Food Technology with honours the graduands I'm about to name. Yu Sun Nelson Chong. Ebony Alice Coombe. Connor Walter Lee Findlay. Rachel Ann Gillies. Philippa Rose Everest Halliday. Taryn Nicole Kramer. Finley Duncan Lemarconde. Ella Claire Nielsen, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Marcus Johannes Anthony Paul Strain. Grace Florence Powell, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Angela Roswitha. Alice Rosa van der Velden, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Katie Michelle Watts, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the graduation in the degree Bachelor of Health Science the graduands I am about to name. Holly Rebecca Dalzell. Andrew John Kreichbaum Grieg. Shabina Hussain. Miriana Moffat. Caitlin Jan Potter. Anthea Megan Turnbull. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Medical Laboratory Science the graduands I am about to name. Charisse Alcade Astronomia. Ashley Renee Benjamin. Georgia Rose Davey. Keely Marie Elizabeth Hutchins. Angela Margaret Lowe. Michael Sean McRae. Lee Min Ong. Rebecca Elizabeth Reed, with distinction, Massey Scholar. Ashley Marie Renwick, with distinction, Massey Scholar. Nicola Brogan Strang. Nicola Dale Swanson. Mohammed Gabriel Zahin Thalari. Christina Marie Wheel. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Nursing the graduands I am about to name. Bridget Elizabeth Annabelle. Anna Field Ara Makutu. Libby Ray Averill. Amber Winnie Berenson. Chloe Vivian Bateman. Rachel Antonia Bell. Grace Mabel Blackfoot. Catherine Helen Davenport. Megan Patricia Davies. Emily Ruth Doody. Amy Elisa Etherington, Massey Scholar. Bethany Jane Hayden Carr. Kelly Jenkins. Samantha Claire Jones. Melissa Margaret Kearns. Amrita Anand Kokattur. Natasha Maria Coulard. Lynette Louise Lang. Bridget Jane Langridge. Amber Patricia Marshall. Eleanor Louise Mason. Ashley Victoria Mayo. Morgan Ashley McKee. Kate Bridget Milne. Carolyn Marianne Wendy Patsisavina Monk. Laurel Christina Moore. Peter Waldron Moore. Sophia Daphne Morris. Abby Lynette Mullen. Rochelle Haley O'Donnell. Cherie Ann Poole. Tony Nicole Redpath. Emma Maureen Richardson. Patricia Beth Roberts. Alana Brachelle Stratton. Chelsea Kate Sutherland. Louise Todd. Samantha Diana Toombs. Eleanor Marie Tutu. Claire Hannah Eubank Wedlock. Brianna Michaela Wigg. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Science the graduands I am about to name. Hannah Grace Aldersley. Andrew Wusiok An. Brooke Louise Collins Massey Scholar. Ellen Ann Denny. Melissa Ann Hamilton. Dushanka Romanthi Hittig. Bronwyn Faye Hughes. Liana Tan Norrish. Alice Hilary Brenner Poglaze. Sebastian Kwan Iu Kwa. Karina Isabel Schill. Laura Kim Skinner. David Sakalia Tuputala. Rachel Kate Williamson. Christina Renee York. Thank you, Chancellor.
It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Russell Wills, Children's Commissioner, to address the graduands. Dr. Wills is a paediatrician in Hawke's Bay, specialising in severe behaviour and child protection, and has been New Zealand's Children's Commissioner since July 2011. As Children's Commissioner, Dr. Wills has advocated for national investment to reduce child poverty, child abuse and family violence. He commissioned the Expert Advisory Group on Solutions to Child Poverty, whose report in December of 2012 was widely acclaimed and has led to significant new investment in children. Last year, his office released their first annual State of Care report, documenting the current state of child, youth and family and children's experiences in care. He sits on several national advisory groups working to improve children's lives, and is frequently asked by media for comment on children's issues. Dr. Wills.
I ngā mana, i ngā reo, e ngā hauai whā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Tuatai ko ngā mihi ki te atua i te rangi, ko e te timatanga o ngā mea katoa, ma te rangi ki runga, ma te whenua ki raro. Tēnā koe e pā. E awhinei tēnei hui whakapūmau, o te kura haora, o te kuninga ki pūrihuro. Tuarua, ke te mihi ki te wharenui e tūnei, tēnā koe. Ke te mihi ki ngā mana whenua o tēnei rohi, rangitāne o Manawatu, tēnā koutou. Nā mate haere, haere, haere. E mihi mana ki ngā ahoranga o te kura haora, tēnā koutou. Ke te mihi mana i ngā kāhui a ko ngā onamata. Rawa, mea koutou whānau, tēnā koutou. E mihi tīnei kia koutou, ngā uri ana waka, ngā manu kōrero o ngā iwi, ngā kaikaranga o te kaupapa hauora. Tēnā koutou e hari nei, e whai nei, i ngā taonga tuku iho, a o koutou mātua tipuna. Te manu e kai e te miro no ngā te nahere. Te manu e kai i te mātaranga no ngā te au. Nō reira, tēnā anō hoki koutou e kimi nei, e raupu nei, i te mātaranga hei oranga mau kia, whai hua ai mau, hei oranga hoki mō tō whānau, tai nō kia tātou katoa o iwi, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Chancellor Mr. Chris Kelly, Vice-Chancellor Steve Mahare, Pro-Vice-Chancellor Paul MacDonald, professors and teachers of the Massey University College of Health, graduating students and families, thank you for the honour of asking me to deliver this address to you. Congratulations, all of you graduating today. You worked hard to get here, and I hope you all feel very proud of what you've achieved. I've been a paediatrician, a children's doctor for 17 years, and a doctor for 28 years. In that short time, the practice of medicine has changed enormously, mostly for the better. So in this short time I have with you, I'd like to give you a sense of what you've gotten yourselves into. When I graduated in 1988, just 28 years ago, healthcare was rigidly hierarchical. When I trained in Dunedin and Christchurch, doctors were minor deities, and professors like Prof MacDonald here were gods. One day I asked a surgeon whether he'd ever made a mistake. He told me he recalled it dimly, his one mistake ever. It was 20 years ago and probably someone else's fault. Being the well-brought-up boy I was, I didn't question this fundamental truth. Doctors don't make mistakes, especially consultants. What we know now, of course, is that even in the best institutions, we in healthcare make mistakes often because we are human. The Institute for Healthcare Improvement estimates that 200,000 Americans die each year and millions of patients experience harm from preventable errors. In 2008, the cost of medical errors in the US alone was estimated at $19.5 billion US dollars. In New Zealand, there were 454 reported serious adverse events in 2013-14. Trying hard to avoid mistakes, being the best one can be, helps, but is not a guarantee of infallibility, nor of patient safety. However, we can be safer practitioners and get better outcomes for our patients if we learn to practice very differently to my surgeon mentor in 1987. Mistakes are a normal part of the human condition, and reducing mistakes is first and foremost about good systems. I can't start my new car without having my foot on the clutch. I'm teaching my 16-year-old son to drive in our old car, which does start while it's in gear. You guessed it, he nearly put it in the bushes. All round us, new systems are arising to keep us safer, better roads, better cars, safer buildings, speed limits by schools. I remember very well making up a digoxin infusion for a patient in coronary care as a junior doctor in Napier. Digoxin is lethal in overdose. I was just about to start the infusion when the charge nurse looked over at my bag and the 10 large ampules of digoxin that I had lined up like little soldiers on the bench. It had been a bit of a squeeze to get them all in the bag. Maureen saved my patient's life and mine when she said, "Russell, thanks for doing that. Could I just have a wee look at your maths?" I've been on duty for over 80 hours that week already, and you guessed it, I dropped a decimal point in my calculation. My father was a pharmacist in Napier. He lived in terror of doctors' illegible handwriting and dispensing the wrong drug, which would have been his fault, even if the writing was illegible. I remember very well one day when he rang a house surgeon mate of mine in Napier to ask very politely if he'd meant to write amlodipine or amitriptyline. One's for heart arrhythmias and the other is for depression. Now, mistakes like that shouldn't happen. All medicines must be double-checked, including the calculation, and even if it's the consultant writing the prescription. Medicines that look the same should not be stored together in the medicines trolley on the ward. Abbreviations are a no-no, and most prescribing is or should be typed. My second point is that we work better and more safely in teams. Hierarchies are so last century. My favourite medical writer is Atul Gawande, a surgeon in New York. He talks about cowboys and pit crews. When I was training, doctors were like cowboys. Like Dr. Gawande, we chose medicine for the autonomy, independence, self-sufficiency and creativity that it brought. It was common for Dad to get a script for a cream for eczema in illegible Latin with 10 ingredients that he had to compound by hand. You made stuff up and you'd tried it before and seemed to work. This would be unheard of now. We do our best to adhere to evidence-based treatments, and systems like Map of Medicine are being used by several DHBs and primary healthcare organisations to standardise practice of both across primary and secondary care. The days of making stuff up should be gone. Most importantly, we work in teams, pit crews, Gawande calls them. My outpatient practice in Hastings has become dominated by children with very severe behaviour disturbance, ADHD, autism, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and the children with the trauma of witnessing domestic violence and abuse themselves. I trained in medicine and then paediatrics for 17 years. I'm pretty good at what I do, but I wouldn't dream of trying to fix these children on my own. The problems are too complex. Working in teams is safer. With this much going on, it's very easy to get something wrong. It's my job to create an environment where it's safe for the speech-language therapist to disagree with my assessment of a child's language, or the social worker to contribute their understanding of the impact of the violence on the children. Another difference in the way we work now in health is how we educate our parents, our patients. When I was a new graduate, the prevailing model of medical education was to fill their empty head with our brilliance. I was the expert in your disease, and your job was to learn from me and do as I say. It didn't work that well. Turns out that patients forget between 40 and 80% of what we tell them, and the more we tell them, the less they remember. These days, I hope, we practice differently. We know that information's better remembered and self-care's better when we write information down, and better still, use pictures as well as words, particularly if our patients have low literacy. As a medical student and paediatric trainee, most of my training was in acute care, diagnosis and treatment. However, the vast majority of the work of a paediatrician these days is with children with chronic illness and disability. And the vast majority of their care does not come from us. It comes from their parents and caregivers. So I'm excited by the idea of patients as partners in their care. The parents and caregivers of the children I see are far more expert in their child's illness than me. They know much better than me what the warning signs of deterioration are, and with support, come to learn much better than me what works to keep their child well. Expert parents get better outcomes for their children. I look out at all of you smart people, and I can see the future of health is in good hands. Congratulations, all of you, for graduating in your chosen career. You will work in teams. You will include patients as partners in their own care. You will develop safer systems for the delivery of healthcare much better than we did, I'm sure. To your families, thank you for the sacrifices you've made to help your child through their training. They're entering a career that is profoundly rewarding. I'm 52 and I love my job just as much now as when I started. I love working with the talented, smart, caring professionals and parents it's been my privilege to work with. I get out of bed on a Monday and I think how lucky I am to do the work I do. I'm sure you all will too. Nō reira, tau e rama, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Thank you, Dr. Wills, for sharing those great insights and words of wisdom. Much appreciated. We will now proceed with the conferment of degrees and the awarding of university diplomas and certificates.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Social Work the graduands I am about to name. Jake Spencer Adams, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Amy Elizabeth Anderson. Linda Frances Back. Katie Grace Bardsley. Jenny Elizabeth Bennett. Anne Cherie Bennett. Matthew John Ellery Bentley. Pauline Ann Brooks. Natalia Frances Nicole Cairns. Natasha Ann Cameron. Sarah Marie Coffing. Jonathan Cotton, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Jane Antoinette Derbyshire. Elizabeth Ruth Douglas. Lee Ellen Edney. Rebecca Mary Harris. Lindsay Ellen Higgins. Tony Johnston. Ria Moira Julian. Alexandra Joyce Corneef. Emma Rose Lovett, First Class Honours, Massey Scholar. Kathleen Ann McMahon. Louise Ruby Mellor. Aroha Mary Nuku. Ketura May Parton. Shaju Kolincheri Pathrose. Jacqueline Moira Potros. Jessica Grace Carter Scott. Shaylee Eva Scott. Maria Sharon Teresa Taiwi. Anita Patricia Thomas. Tupo Dora Valu. Catherine Mary Louise Waffy. Valerie Joan Webb. Nicola Elizabeth Wong. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Sport and Exercise the graduands I'm about to name. Lucian Thompson Armstrong. Liam Peter Berenston. Jessica Lee Barnes. Brianna Elise Hunter Bold. Courtney Louise Colston. Nicholas Connor Fee. Deanna Kate Forsyth. Jessica Amy Gates. Lachlan James Gordon. Stacey Cherie Graney, Massey Scholar. Natasha Marie Hoogstraten. Corina Ann Howells. Louise Mary Hurley. Ross Kinnelly. Alexander John Knowles. Stacey Kevin Meehan. Victoria Juliet Miller, Massey Scholar. Excuse me, that's you. Ariana Uroa Nariwa. Jeremy Michael Pinfold. Tori Nayo Erina Ratima. Philip Jaden Roche. Hannah Suzara Robertshaw. Karen Louise Stanton. Jamie Lee Ray Telfer, Massey Scholar. Connor Robert John Toki. Kane Hayden Wilson. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the conjoint degree of Bachelor of Business Studies and Bachelor of Science, the graduand I am about to name, Emma Jean Smith. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Graduate Diploma in Environmental Health the candidates I am about to name. Carla Jessica Anderson. Julianne Glennis Mann. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Graduate Diploma in Occupational Safety and Health the candidates I am about to name. Christopher Greenslade. Peter Mervyn Theron. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the postgraduate diploma in nursing the candidates I am about to name. Helen Claire Beard. Sherilyn Lisa Gray with distinction. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the postgraduate diploma in social service supervision the candidates I am about to name. Trudy Brand. Shane Aaron Kennard with distinction. Gianni Rosalie Wicks with distinction, Massey Scholar. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours the graduand I am about to name, Georgina Tamsin Ridley Gattenby, First Class Honours. Thank you, Chancellor.
It is now my pleasure to invite Amber Joseph to present an item. 17-year-old Amber Joseph is currently studying in her final year at Palmerston North Girls High School. With one of the top marks in the region for Grade 7 piano and the title of Head Girl for 2016, Amber's life is really short of excitement. When she leaves school, Amber plans to study computer science. Amber enjoys performing and congratulates all graduates on their huge accomplishments. Today she will be performing C. Cellini by Paradis, followed by Barbed Wire Blues by Christopher Norton. Amber Joseph. Thank you, Amber, for your item and all the best for the future. We will now proceed with the conferment of degrees and the awarding of university certificates and diplomas.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Applied Social Work the graduands I am about to name. Sarah Bridget Alford, First Class Honours. Maggie Ann Brunsden. Tracy Michelle Collier. Jill Marie Ludlow. Susan Marie Munt. Sharianne Rakake Amelia Rangatawa. Suzanne Gladys Victoria Robinson. Christiana Skinner, First Class Honours. Erin Marie White. Judith Marie Yates. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Dairy Science and Technology the graduands I am about to name. George William David Abbott with distinction. Roxanne Bartlett with distinction. Akanksha Birada. Andrew Rex Bogan. Caitlin Christina Briasco with distinction. Hayley May Brown with distinction. Gabrielle Elise Cooper with distinction. Emily Catherine Marshall Decker. Daniel James Westill Etherington. Ross Anthony Foyce with distinction. Jaden Glenn Hockley with distinction. Samantha Teresa Howers with distinction. Christopher Robert Ireland with distinction. Joanna Maria Cote with distinction. Brendan James LaHaye with distinction. Tate Barry Matson with distinction. Laura Jane Podofsky with distinction. Kartik Subodh Prabhu. Camilla Petter Francis Ridderford with distinction. Leanne Joan Robb with distinction. Ellen Margaret Sharland. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Nursing the graduands I'm about to name. Bronwyn Marie Banfield. Sandra May Bayliss. Bridget Agnes Carver-Vitens. Rebecca Jane Casey. Lisa Maria Klintz. Natasha Anna Darby. David Stanley Foote. Lucia Marie Gribble. Anna Margaret Lawson. Cheryl Ann MacDonald, First Class Honours. Tracy Nicola McNure. Paula Deanne Nilsson. Hannah Claire Ratcliffe. Andrea Claire Thornton. Leonie Margaret Wellwood. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Science the graduands I'm about to name. Jeremy David Fraser. Corin Murray Hulls. Michelle Claire McGrath, First Class Honours. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Sport and Exercise, the graduand I'm about to name, Lana Margaret McCarthy, with distinction. Chancellor, the degrees are also conferred and the certificates and diplomas are also awarded to those who are in absentia. Thank you, Chancellor.
Chancellor, Professor Giselle Burns, Assistant Vice-Chancellor for Research, Academic and Enterprise, will now read the citations for doctoral graduands.
Thank you. In addition to reading and calling the graduands by name, I have the honour of outlining very briefly the scope and significance of each of our graduands' research. And the audience is invited to applaud twice, once after I read the graduands' names and again as they collect their certificate. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Doctor of Philosophy the graduands I'm about to name. Pete DeVette. Mr. DeVette investigated which bacteria in raw milk were likely to influence our health by reaching the lower intestinal tract. He found that milk and certain combinations of proteins and salt found in milk helped protect the bacteria exposed in acidic stomach conditions. Please welcome Dr. Vett. George Thomas Fuller. Partially crystalline oil and water emulsions are prone to destabilisation through partial fusion of the dispersed fat globules. Mr. Fuller's research focused on understanding the influencing factors, and his findings will aid the food industry by improving their ability to control the partial fusion process in many food products. Please welcome Dr. Fuller. Khairul Qasim. A key challenge for the blueberry juice industry is to ensure beneficial compounds are not lost during processing. Ms. Qasim investigated the impact of the physical and chemical processes that occur during the stages of industrial processing, and she developed a mathematical model that predicts finished juice composition. This tool can help processors keep the health-promoting qualities of whole blueberries when producing juice. Please welcome Dr. Qasim. Latia Deloki Mayu Siwabu. Ms. Mao Siwabu explored the lay understanding of health and well-being amongst Indigenous Fijian women. To date, research and development practice have focused on Western paradigms and biomedical models of understanding health and well-being that often ignore cultural understandings. Her research findings contribute to the beginning of a new approach to health and well-being, not only for the Marama Itake, but also for Pacific and Indigenous women globally. Please welcome Dr. Mao Siwabu. Ashley Jane Thompson, doctoral scholar. Social media has become a pervasive part of society in modern consumer culture, particularly in the sports context. Ms. Thompson explored how Facebook and Twitter are utilised by the 4 Grand Slam tennis events to build their brands and relationships with fans. Her research findings highlighted the changing nature of brand management in the social media era and the duality of live event versus online event experience. Please welcome Dr. Thompson. Yanyawat Wutitunwang. Ms. Wutitunwang's research demonstrated that blueberries can reduce new blood vessel formation, which might serve as a good strategy for tumour growth inhibition. Additionally, an animal study showed that blueberry composition, especially with fibre included, decreased the number and the size of tumours. These results suggest that increased consumption of blueberries may reduce breast cancer risk at a population level. Please welcome Dr. Wutijumnong. Teresa Francis Vangzing. Ms. Vangzing's research examined the design of food pastes for 3D printing of an image embedded in a bread-type food. She produced the first published review of 3D food printing, and outlined food paste flow requirements for this process. Her research also identified novel ways that flour components control the development of bread foam structure. Please welcome Dr. Vang Zin. Thank you, Chancellor.
At the conclusion of the ceremony, guests are requested to remain in their seats until the processions have assembled in the foyer. I declare this congregation to be adjourned. Please join with us in singing the national anthem, God Defend New Zealand, led by Andrew Jamieson, the words of which are printed on the screen, and we will begin with the Maori version of the anthem. Please stand.
Tua o ngā iwi mātaura ata